everybody. Happy Friday and welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Sinead DeFries, and this is The Daily Show where we bring you the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us this morning is your Collider Movie Talk crew. First up, senior producer, Jon Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you from right here at the Collider Video headquarters here in Burbank, California. And I am so proud of Dennis Zen and Jon Schnepp winning their Schmodown last night. Well done, gentlemen.
Yeah, hey Dennis, get over here, man. Get over here.
Are we really making this a big deal? We're making this a big deal.
Should we slow clap or what?
Yes, yes.
It's a very impressive victory in the Ultimate Schmodown last night.
Right. We are the champions, my
it was
friends.
round one. It was round one, boys. Got a long way to go.
Keep on
Shame.
You have to
fighting.
understand they grew up getting participation trophies. So
Yeah.
This
This is kind of a big
Honorable
deal, guys.
mention. So this is...
I just want to say, to beat the guy who was writing Scooby-Doo and the Jetsons, it just doesn't get better than this. I can retire now. No, it was actually really fun, and they put up a great fight, and it was neck and neck, and it was a lot of fun. It was way more fun than I thought.
Yeah, nobody cares. So. We're over it. What's next?
I'm sorry. At least I'm sorry. Yeah.
John's like,
Yeah,
Jon just wanted to give you a quick little shout out. He didn't want all that.
I just hear a little bitterness from the loser, Jon Campea. That's all. Just a tinge of bitterness in the voice of the loser, Jon Campea.
You want to take account of how many questions I got right versus how many questions you got right?
But ultimately, it's the winner.
It is.
Isn't it about
It
the
is.
winner? So
It is.
it's not who's right or wrong. It's who's the champion. That's all. I can leave it at that. How's it going, guys? It's Friday.
All right. Well, if you didn't get that, that's Jon Schnepp. And also here, Mark Ellis.
I just create the madness, then I watch it happen. I'm the puppet master.
Hey, listen, one of the cool things about this job, and there's a lot of things we get to do that's a lot of fun and very cool, but hanging out where we do, our studio is right beside the AMC Burbank 16. And so a lot of us in here, we go see our movies over at the Burbank 16. And Mark Ellis was there last night, and you just, being in Burbank, you think you might bump into some people. You happen to bump into somebody last night.
Just happened to be walking in to see Sinister 2, and who did I see getting candy next to me? Mr. Kevin Feige, ladies and gentlemen. The president of Marvel Studios. There's a guy that makes great movies, and then a guy that eats a lot of popcorn watching those great movies, hanging out together.
That's one of the cool things about, we often we'll go have lunch across the street or something. We'll see people in there as well. It's just crazy how often we bump into people right around this area.
He was a super nice guy. He was really cool about it. The best part is that when you look at the photo, I got to remember next time I take a selfie not to have my hand on somebody's shoulder because it looks like Thing from the Addams Family. He's just there lurking, wanting to get in the picture too.
All right, what's up?
The highly anticipated Batman v Superman movie is now just 7 months away, but as most of you will remember, the film was originally supposed to have been released a month ago on July 17th. It was then moved to May 6th, 2016, which is the same release date as Captain America: Civil War, and then changed dates again to its current release date of March 25th. In a recent interview, Warner Brothers CEO Kevin Tsujihara was asked about the various release date changes, and he said the following. It was a tough decision at the time because it was going to create a hole in 2015, but it was absolutely the right decision for the franchise, for DC and the movie. Having seen the movie multiple times and again last night, I'm extremely confident it was the right decision to make the movie better, and it's so important for the studio to get the foundation right for DC. Jon, what do you make of Tsujihara's comments?
Well, first of all, I'm becoming a big fan of Kevin Tsujihara. I really like what he's been doing at Warner Brothers and how he's been handling it, and the way he's given a lot of personal attention, actually, to the whole DC universe within Warner Brothers. And I think, his new brand of leadership that he's brought in has been really great. And it's good to be king. He's already seen the movie at least 3 times. He's seen the movie, so that's good. Look, I have often been very critical of Warner Brothers DC for that big date change. Not so much because they ended in 2016, but because then who were the incompetent people who thought your movie was going to be completely ready in July of 2015 that you then had to bump it back almost a year? So there was that whole sort of thing. It is weird to think that this movie was already supposed to be in theaters a month ago. It is so strange to think of it that way. But look, everything we've seen coming out of Warner Brothers and DC regarding Batman vs. Superman has been all positive, with a little asterisk beside it's Warner Brothers' own people saying that it's awesome, but still better that than nothing at all. So that sounds really great. I love everything I've seen about it. I thought the trailer was I like the trailer better than the Star Wars trailer. I did. I mean, it was that good. So I'm really super psyched about all that kind of stuff. And having it land where it did, I remember we had that big drama going on, that game of chicken between Marvel with Captain America Civil War and Superman, who was going to budge. Batman vs. Superman budge, and it was the right move for Batman vs. It was the smart play for them to make that move, and I think they're going to reap big benefits from that move. So I really like the comments. He makes a lot of sense. So I just continue to sit here and wait for 7 more months to see this movie. Schnepp?
Yeah, it feels like it's been forever. And so, but it's also like mounting, and I was like, I can't believe it's only, 7 months now? I mean, we've been waiting almost 4 years for the sequel to Man of Steel, and then it became Batman v Superman, and then the date was announced, then the date got moved a whole year. So it is like, it's frustrating, but at the same time, it's very exciting, especially when you see the fruits of the labor, which is that trailer, which is fantastic. But I think the reason they pushed it was also when they really decided to make Batman v Superman the gateway to the rest of the DC universe. So it did have to, they probably had to restructure a little bit of the script, even though they were starting to shoot. They were like, look, we're going to have to add this. We're going to take this away, move this around. So, I mean, it makes sense. And I'm really happy. I mean, I don't remember reading about Green Lantern getting a standing ovation by Warner Brothers. Because they're like, I've seen it 8 times. I can't stop watching it. You know, that hasn't happened. And this is the first time I've read the head of the studio saying they've seen it several times. Everyone's really excited about it. So I'm really excited.
I remember you mentioning that it feels like forever. This is how forever feels like to me. I remember at Comic-Con, it was about 2 hours before the Warner Brothers panel at Comic-Con. At that panel, that Zack Snyder got up to make the announcement they're making Batman vs. Superman. And I got handed a draft 2 hours before that panel, and Amy Rose was with me. I got handed a draft of a press release that was going to go out later that day. Batman versus Superman, blah, blah. And I remember going to Amy Rose, should I tweet this? Should I Facebook this? He says, do you think they want that getting out now? Well, they probably don't. Then you probably shouldn't put out. No, I shouldn't, but wow. But that was years ago. Yeah. That was years ago. It does feel like forever. I don't know that this movie's ever actually coming. That's what it feels. It feels like a forever theory that at some point, I don't know, 7 months away now, Mark.
You know that Kevin Tsuchihara's got to love that he was the lead story on Movie Talk until he got preempted by a picture of me and Kevin Feige. I'm sure that thrills him to no end. Having said all that, look, it was the right decision to move the date around. And it's weird to think, I wouldn't go so far as to say that anybody was incompetent for thinking this movie could have come out this summer, because they had it already shot. And look, if the movie's finished and he's seen it multiple times, it's the middle of August. So we got pretty close to that date. Still was the right play to move it, because you move it to next summer. And then when you see, oh no, we don't want to compete with Civil War, this is the most important tentpole film maybe of all time. Everything rests on this movie being great and it coming out and getting a good response from fans. So you have to make sure the target is painted green before you take your shot. And it doesn't look great from a PR standpoint when your movie keeps shifting dates, but they know what they're doing as far as this has to hit right. This is where it's going to land. From everything we've seen, and look, nobody's talking about that anymore because we've seen some footage now. Right. And the footage looks awesome.
Well, and it's been about a year since they changed the date. So, So that happens too. But you know what's really exciting? This is what's really exciting to me. We are going to have, because they are only 6 weeks apart. Batman v Superman and Captain America Civil War are only 6 weeks apart. We are going to have both of these movies in theater at the same time. You're going to be able to walk over to the Burbank 16 and look up, and at the same time, Batman vs. Superman Theater 1, Captain America Civil War in theaters 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, because it'll just be opening. What an awesome time we live in.
That's insanity.
What an awesome time.
What do you do after that? Nothing.
Sinead, as somebody at the table who's not like a hardcore comic book geek, though, so I'm really curious about it as a filmgoer's perspective. You go to the theater, you see Batman versus Superman in theater 1, you see Captain America Civil War in theater 2, you got one movie ticket, you can go see whatever you want. Which one are you walking into to see? Which one are you most excited about right now?
I mean, I feel like I haven't been as excited for any movie in a long time as I am for Batman v Superman. I don't know what it is about it, but I'm just so excited. I mean, obviously I love Captain America, but I mean, I would see both. Like, what kind of question is that?
I know.
There's something about it, though. It's different. It's different. Like, excitement is so real for this movie.
Yeah,
So
no,
real.
it really is, and we've been waiting for so long for it. And I think I got to say, if I'm in that situation, I'm walking in to see Batman versus Superman first. I mean,
Well,
Marvel
yeah.
is so far ahead of the game, and they crank out nothing but high quality. And I have no doubt that Captain America: Civil War is going to be awesome, no doubt. But the one I have been waiting for is Batman versus Superman, so that's probably the one I'm walking in to see first.
And that's because it's the first time Batman and Superman are going to share the screen together,
Yeah.
and it's the brand new Batman. So there's all this fresh excitement about it.
But it
so.
also looks like, look, Civil War is going to be a great movie. I have no doubts about that after hanging out with Kev last night. But that's still, it looks like a scrimmage between superheroes to me. It looks like a preseason game where I'm not sure how seriously they're taking this battle as opposed to it just being a lead up to Infinity War, which is also going to be great. But Batman v Superman, they do not like each other. They don't know each other. They do not want to be in each other's earth, and they're going to try everything they can to end the other person.
Do you? Oh, that
will.
that-
Yeah, it's like, what?
I still get chills when I hear that line. All right, we can talk about this particular topic all show, but let's move on.
With Straight Outta Compton enjoying massive success, Ice Cube and his son Jackson O'Shea Jr. may be looking to real Los Angeles events once again for their next project. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Ice Cube is looking at starring in the LA Riot-centered action thriller entitled April 29th, 1992. According to the report, Ice Cube would star as a former criminal who, during the LA riots, has to protect both his son and his workplace from a violent group who aim to steal an immense quantity of platinum. Mark, what do you think of the sounds of April 29th, 1992?
I do like the sounds of April 29th, 1992. As long as it doesn't come out on April 29th in any year, 2016, it should come out in like a January or a February because it sounds an action movie in the same style as like an Olympus Has Fallen situation where there's this event that happened and now we got to protect ourselves. It sounds like an action movie that you would have seen in the late 80s or early 90s to me. It's taking place in the early 90s. O'Shea Jackson so impressed me playing his dad. I'd love to see them on screen. I can't believe that that's my new favorite father-son combination, beating out Will Smith and Jaden Smith. The kids' tweets are just too crazy. I want the Cubes in more movies.
I'll still go for Kirk Douglas and Michael Douglas, but I don't know how to feel about this because when I first heard this news, and it was really more the headline of it, I got very excited because I know the issue of the LA riots is something that Ice Cube is actually very passionate about. He cares deeply about it. He was right in the middle of it too. Like a lot of people living in Los. I remember talking to him. I was obviously up in Canada, watching with like a lot of Canadians were looking. Look at these silly Americans, what they're doing to each other. But I remember talking to Anne, my wife, who does live here, and just she was recounting like it was a scary time. It was a scary time, not just because of the riots themselves, but it was our first real glimpse of, at least in the popular media, of police abusing power and things like that. And so it was just scary all the way around. And I remember when I first heard, wait a minute, Ice Cube is going to bring a song along, doing a movie about the LA riots. That sounds like it could be Oscar material. I mean, that may sound like I'm jumping to hyperbole there, but honestly, that was the first thought in my head. This sounds like it could be something really, really special. I'm very excited about this. Then when I read the words action thriller,
Right.
and it's going to be more like a Die Hard and Olympus Has Fallen, stuff like that, my enthusiasm went, oh. And I think that's unfair because I think if we really step back and think about it, that could also be very fun. Seeing Ice Cube, wiring traps in his store and trying to keep some guys out who are just using the LA riots as an excuse and a cover to get into his shop to get platinum, I guess is what they're stealing. That sounds like it could be fun, but I haven't gotten over my initial disappointment of hearing it wasn't going to be that movie I thought it was going to be at first. So it's unfair of me. I'm being very unfair to the film right now, just because it's going to be something else. But even that something else sounds like it could be fun.
Yeah, this movie's not going to win any Oscars, but the platinum they might be stealing, maybe it's in Jerry Heller's office. Maybe it's NWA Records and it just all brings it back.
Schnepp.
It is a little. I'm sure that that Cube will bring some resonance to the film, even if it's an exploitation film. He's taking ownership of that situation. I was living in Chicago when the riots went down, and if you're using a real situation like Olympus Has Fallen, all those other dumb action films, that's not about reality. This is actually about reality. So they're going to have to honor that reality in some way, even if they're making an action adventure out of it. So, and I'm sure that because he has such strong feelings about it, I think it would be great. if they really wanted to get cheesy, they'd get Vanilla Ice and iced tea in there to get the ice cube tea, triple threat action. If that happens, then I'm like, yo,
this is going to be a very cold movie.
Yeah,
overall,
that would be very
and that movie would be called Ice Cubed.
Ooh.
We just came up with a hit.
That's our next movie.
All right, folks, as we reach that part of the show now for buy or sell, here's how this works. In front of us, Sinead's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down, and those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Sinead, what do we got?
According to a report in Deadline, Universal Pictures has a short list of potential directors for its upcoming 50 Shades of Grey sequel, 50 Shades Darker. The report claims that the head of that list is James Foley, who directed the iconic classic Glengarry Glen Ross, as well as a dozen episodes of the hit show House of Cards. As some of you will remember, 50 Shades of Grey director Sam Taylor Johnson and screenwriter Kelly Marcel departed the franchise after highly publicized conflicts with the original novel writer E.L. James, which led to James hiring her own husband to take over the screenwriting duties for the sequel. Schnepp, would you buy or sell James Foley directing 50 Shades Darker?
I was going to say, Ray, that was a great picture of James Foley. That made me laugh. No, I sell it. I don't even know how to deal with this as a real movie question, or it's like it seems so silly. Mark did the research on the husband. What's he written?
He's written a lot of like TV episodes.
That's not what you said.
That's
not what you said in the pre-production
I
meeting.
necessarily haven't heard. It's like it's everything in the resume. It's like TV shows that sound like they could be shows, but something I've never heard of. It's like Man of War or like Octopus Fever. It's like, wait, is that a real show or is that almost close to a real show? I don't know if it's entirely made up, but he does have a resume to speak of.
I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy this. Look, forget what you think about the 50 Shades of Grey franchise or anything. Is bringing on the guy who has been directing House of Cards and the guy who directed Glengarry Glen Ross, is that a good move? Hell yes, it's a good move. It is. Is it a good move for him? Well, that's another discussion for another day. But is it a good move? Yeah, and I do know this. I know Batman versus Superman was very active to try to make sure they didn't have their same release date on the date of the 50 Shades of Grey. And look, the first one, despite the mocking and the joking that we do, the first one made over $570 million worldwide. I will never do that in my lifetime. So of course they're moving forward with this. But yeah, this looks like the behind the scenes stuff of the 50 Shades franchise looks like a comedy movie being made about a bunch of incompetent people making a movie franchise. Mm-hmm. I mean, the fact that first of all, you have this writer who was just writing Twilight fan fiction and it turned into 50 Shades of Grey. Someone just changed the names. Now it's 50 Shades of Grey. And now this person has the power to throw out established, accomplished screenwriters and the directors and hires her own resume-less husband to come in. I mean, this, you can't write this stuff.
It sounds perfect. It sounds like pure cinema.
It's like they're conducting a course on how to do everything wrong. But you bring in the Glengarry Glen Ross director, you're doing something right. If he accepts it, that'll be an interesting move. It'll be an interesting move. What do you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it might be the right move for James Foley, but I buy it as far as that production, trying to get a director of the caliber of James Foley, who's done House of Cards recently. So yeah, the guy clearly he's able to take material and turn it into something that will reach its potential. Now, what that material is going to be with 50 Shades Darker, we have no idea what E.L. James and her husband are cooking up. I mean, as it stands right now, I was not a huge fan of 50 Shades of Grey. I think it was the worst thing I've ever seen, but it wasn't good at all. I'd rather go see Ice Cubed than 50 Shades Darker. So, I mean, I
want to see Ice Cubed regardless. Yeah. Oh, okay. Here's the thing, though. I can totally see a move where he's like sitting down. James Foley sits down with Universal in the room. E.L. James is in there and whatever. And they say, okay, we would like you to direct this movie. And he says, okay, fine. But then he turns to E.L. James. But she keeps her mouth shut and she stays the F out of my way. And if that happens, then who knows? Maybe they'll be able to do something decent with this.
Right, or you get points on the back end, or you work out some sort of deal where it's like, I just make this money. But, look, the E.L. James is one thing. The fact that her husband is punching up the screenplay, when you're a husband and you're married to somebody who's writing this kind of stuff, you just go with the tide, man. You're like, really? You want to get darker with this? Yeah, I'll take a crack at it, see what happens.
Check it out. Ice Cubed, right? Ice-T and Vanilla Ice are like the Miami Vice team. They're like on a mission to stop Ice Cube and his son, Ice Cube Jr.
Now it's
And then it's a battle.
Ice Quad.
Ice Quad.
Okay, somebody has to make us an ice cubed poster. Somebody please make us an ice cubed poster. All right, what's next?
According to a report in The Hollywood Reporter, Fantastic Four actor Toby Kebbell will be joining Tom Hiddleston, Samuel L. Jackson, and Brie Larson on the upcoming Universal film Kong Skull Island. Set for release on March 10th, 2017, Kong Skull Island aims to fully immerse audiences in the mysterious and dangerous home of the King of the Apes as a team of explorers ventures deep inside the treacherous primordial island. Legendary story honors the foundations of the existing King Kong lore, but places it in an entirely new, distinct timeline. John, do you buy or sell, Toby Kebbell joining Kong Skull Island?
A big buy, actually. Look, don't let whatever results happen with Fantastic Four fool you. Toby Kebbell's a very talented dude. I've been really stoked ever since we heard Tom Hiddleston was going on board. I love the concept of the film. Now, it was kind of a bummer when we heard that guys like J.K. Simmons, Michael Keaton dropped out there. Brie Larson's on board, which brings up an interesting thing because a few weeks ago we had that report that Brie Larson was looking at joining and that Russell Crowe was looking at joining. Now, I haven't heard any more talk about Russell Crowe. If he is on this movie and he does end up signing for this, then my enthusiasm for this film is going to go right through the roof. It's already pretty high. But yeah, I totally buy Kebbell joining this. I think it's a great move. Mark?
Oh, yeah, it's a great move. Toby Kebbell has so much talent that was not obviously utilized properly in Fantastic Four. So he's shown what he can do both as a live-action actor and when you're talking about performance capture with the Planet of the Apes franchise. So yes, it's a great move to bring him on board. But now the movie's called Kong Skull Island, not just Skull Island. I don't like that as much.
Really? I actually thought that was a good move to put Kong in there.
It's hitting it on the head. It's like, hey, remember, we got that big giant ape. We know you got the giant ape. Just show us Skull Island. Bring back Michael Keaton, too.
I'm 50-50. I love the title Skull Island. I love the premise. I love everything about this movie. I'm glad they're going back to Skull Island. It's going to be another adventure in like weird prehistoric zone. Kong's hiding out. And now you know Kong's going to be in there because they slapped Kong on the top. So I don't mind the Kong Skull Island. I did like it was a little more pure. And just the sweaties would be like, that's about King Kong. Now they're like, no, it's Kong. Oh, Kong? No, everyone knows it's Kong. But why not? Let everyone know that Kong's going to be hiding there, you know? I don't know when it's going to be. They're saying it's in a different time zone. It could be like dudes are on their cell phones. Like it could be right now.
It could either be like literal modern day.
Right.
But I also heard another report saying it could be like early 70s. It could be like set in the early 70s or total modern day. I don't know which one.
I like either or.
I'm just going to be very interested to see when the events in King Kong or something like that took place, or if that ever actually happened in this timeline, because they're acknowledging that there is a huge ape, probably named King Kong, that lives on the island. But did he ever necessarily make that trek to New York and become the eighth wonder of the world and climb up to the Empire State Building? Right. If that ever actually happened or not. So they have a lot to talk about story-wise, but at least they got the right talent on board.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I buy this.
All right, what's next?
For over 10 years now, Academy Award-nominated director Michael Mann has been working on getting his Enzo Ferrari biopic off of the ground, and it looks like it's finally moving. According to Deadline, Academy Award-winning actor Christian Bale has signed on to star in the Ferrari biopic and is currently aiming to start shooting next summer. Mark, do you buy or sell a Ferrari biopic with Michael Mann directing and Christian Bale starring?
Oh, good for us as an audience. This movie could be great. You know, I was already buying this picture, and then that graphic that Ray made for us. Look at that. Looks like Christian Bale can age into this guy. All of a sudden, you're talking about what do Academy Award voters love? They love when people age right before their naked, steaming eyeballs on screen. This guy could age 40 years in the span of this movie. And the story of Enzo Ferrari, it's a fantastic odyssey into this guy's life in making cars. So this is a big buy for me. Michael Mann is a director that has so much talent. He's done so many great things. I was the person. Remember when you read about the one guy who liked Black Hat? That was me. Michael Mann made that movie. Hopefully he can do even better and please the rest of us with this one.
Black Hat. Public Enemy.
Oh, yeah. That's
Miami Vice.
Didn't see it.
But he has made, he's a little bit right now for me, Michael Mann, in the Ridley Scott thing. amazingly gifted director who has not been showing us he is an amazingly gifted director for a number of years. This project, though, sounds fascinating. Him doing, first of all, just a biopic about Ferrari. Come on. Michael Mann directing. I'm already interested, despite kind of a run of underwhelming films. Add Christian Bale to that now. Okay, Bale's kind of picky about his roles. He must really like the pitch that he got on it. So everything about this sounds great. Biopic about Ferrari, Michael Mann directing, Christian Bale on a star. I got to buy it.
That picture that Ray put together, just like if I ever get an auto bio about me, I want Christian Bale to play me. It's always you see these people, and then that doesn't even look like him. You know, like Steve Jobs. Michael Fassbender. You're like, it's like,
right.
You know, that's movies, guys. Do I buy this? I don't know. I'm not a car person, so you know, I'll have to do some research and read about Enzo Ferrari first before I can actually buy it. So for right now, I sell it.
All right, what's next?
Lionsgate revealed earlier this year that they were moving forward with the planned feature film treatment for the ancient Homer poem, The Odyssey. Now, according to a report in Variety, Lionsgate may have found its star in Wolverine actor Hugh Jackman, who is said to be starring as the main character, Odysseus. The film will be directed by Hunger Games franchise helmer Francis Lawrence and written by Mockingjay writer Peter Craig. Schnepp, buy or sell Hugh Jackman starring in The Odyssey?
It's a big buy for me. I think this is a great next the next thing that Wolverine does is going to be The Odyssey. I mean, that's fantastic. He's such a great actor that he's going to be able to play out all this amazing dialogue, and you're going to believe all the crazy things that this guy does. So I can't wait to see this big budget version of The Odyssey, and especially after they got this amazing talent to play the main character. Big buy.
Yeah, huge buy for me. Hugh Jackman just proving more and more he can do anything. You want me to be the villain Peter Pan? Sure. You want me to be Wolverine? Sure. You want me to sing Les Biz? Sure. You put him in anything and screw everybody else. I even liked that comedy he did with oh damn it, it was about the old cow. Remember, it was called. There was a theory about the old cow. He was the girl's roommate. Never mind.
Yeah. With Ashley Judd in it?
The one with Ashley Judd, yes.
Oh, right. No, it's called
And Greg Kinnear.
Yeah.
Mamtrex.
No, no.
Mamtrex.
And it stars Greg Kinnear.
Yeah.
And it says, fact checker Wendy, look up that movie. She's going to find that for
Feels
us.
like you're making this movie up.
No. That's not Kate Leopold. That's the one
Kate Leopold was him and Meg Ryan. It was a time travel rom-com. So there's your genres.
Which was directed by the guy who's directing him in the next Wolverine film.
James Mangold.
Yeah, who also directed him in that. So anyway, while they look that up,
true?
I gotta buy this. He can do anything. And it wasn't Oh Brother Where Art Thou? That was based on The Odyssey, was it not? So now I'm really curious to see who they get to star in this movie with Hugh Jackman. I was excited just when Lionsgate said they were doing an Odyssey movie. Now adding Hugh Jackman to that. And it's, you know what? At first, it's made some people scratch their heads that you basically had the producer, director, and writer all from the Hunger Games films all coming over to do it. But when you really think about it, that could be a fantastic fit. That we're creating these worlds that they're going to be doing with the type of tone that I think they could bring to it. I think it's a really good fit. I'm excited about it. For me, it's a buy.
Yeah, I mean, I buy this overall because Hugh Jackman in The Odyssey is a great idea. I can't wait until he sees a sea serpent for the first time and goes like this and then realizes he doesn't have any claws anymore, so got to find another way to fight all these beasts. It concerns me a little bit, and look, I'm not exactly Homer when it comes to knowing what this stuff is, despite my shirt. So the Iliad came first, right? And we're just not going to worry about the Iliad because there's not that much action in there. We're just going to give the kids what they want, The Odyssey. Please don't turn this into another Clash of the Titans where it just skims all over. We're just going to pick and choose the Greek myth that we want to use and ignore all the other crap that we don't think is going to play well for the stupid converted 3D that the kiddies want to see. Make this a real adaptation. That would be great. Hugh Jackman is the perfect age to do this too because, like we were talking about with Christian Bale aging as Enzo Ferrari, Hugh Jackman can be younger. He can be a young Odysseus when he's going into the Trojan War. I think that took 10 years. Then I think it took another 10 years to get back to Ithaca. So this is all what I know from Cliff Notes, which is what we'd use in America, John.
Right.
You had Kubert's Notes or whatever you use in Canada is different. But yeah, Hugh Jackman, it's great. Did we ever find out the name of the movie? Now it's bugging me.
Someone like you.
Like
Well,
you.
I like that. Like I said, Greg Kinnear. I think Marissa Tomei is in that movie as well as the best friend. I really like that little comedy.
What is it called? We have Cliff Notes. Cloud Notes? What do you guys call it?
We call it Cole's Notes.
Cole's Notes.
In Canada,
Right.
we have Cole's
Those
Notes.
Canadians, so weird.
Such weird people.
Cole's Notes.
All right, folks, listen, it's Friday, which means it's time for us to play a little game called Box Office Predictions, brought to you by our friends at AMC Theatres. It's as simple as this. we at the table are trying to guess the top 5 spots in the box office report this coming Monday. Just wanted to point out, once again, I was 5 for 5 last week.
Damn.
Once again, the week before I totally butchered it. But I was 5 for 5 last week. Let's see how we do this week. Schnepp, we're going to start over with you. Come Monday, what are the top 5 films at the box office?
I'm sticking Straight Outta Compton. It still stays at number 1. Then I'm going to say...
Ooh. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Stumped after 1.
I'm going to say...
Apu was a monkey.
I'm going to say... Sinister 2 as number 2, then American Ultra as number 3, Hitman number 4, and Mission Impossible number 5.
Okay, I will go Straight Outta Compton by a mile will still be number 1. Agent 47 will be in second spot. Sinister 2 will be in third spot. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation will be in fourth, and American Ultra will just barely get into the top 5.
Sinead, write these down if you want to make any money. Coming in at number 1, Straight Outta Compton. Number 2, Sinister 2. Number 3, Mission Impossible. Number 4, Hitman Agent 47. Number 5, American Ultra. Take it to the bank, kids.
All right, and we will review these predictions come Monday when we do the box office report. And let us know how you think we did, which one of us was closest to being right, or how would you organize that order? Just leave your thoughts in the comments section below. All right, folks, we reached that part of the show now for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you just email us anytime to collidervideo@gmail.com, and we'll see if we can get your question on our show. So, Sinead, what's in the mailbag today?
Johan writes, hey guys, do you think it's a bad practice for studios like Marvel and WB to go to events like Comic-Con and D23 to show off footage to the attendees, but make other fans who couldn't attend wait months? I mean, they don't have to show us the exact trailer shown at the event. Just give us other fans like a short teaser so we don't feel left out, or just give us an announcement of when they're going to release the trailer. Don't just leave us with nothing. If they have footage to show to that audience, why can't everyone else see it? What are your guys' opinions on this?
You know, this kind of question comes up, and almost an exact same similar type of question came up after Comic-Con, and it's relevant to bring it up again since we just came out of D23, and they showed a whole bunch of D23, which they did not go out then and release to the public. I think it is good. I do. I think it is good. This 4-year-old mentality that all of us seem to have, myself included, we're all little 4-year-old babies, all of us. We're just like, well, he got to have it, why can't I? I mean, we seem to have this mentality about it where I believe there is something very cool about having special events be special. Mm-hmm. You know, it's one thing where Star Wars, a Star Wars Celebration, they had a trailer that they were going to release to everybody anyway. And all they decided is we're going to show it to our people who are here at Celebration. You get to see it first. Before anybody else could see it first, 10 minutes later, the whole world's going to see it. That's fine. But that was a trailer they had made, and they were going to release to everybody anyway. When you look at something like D23 and look at some of the stuff we saw there, like Kevin Feige, they haven't even started shooting Doctor Strange yet. But as Kevin Feige said, we're at D23. Some of you guys came from all over the world to come to this event. We wanted to have something for you. And because this is a special event, you guys came here, we're going to share something special. And they put together, using still art imagery with music, this kind of weird little trailer thing, which was great. And they didn't put that out to the world. And I'm not surprised they didn't put that out to the world, because that's not the first impression they want the rest of the world to have of Doctor Strange quite yet. So I'm of the mentality that I am totally cool, and not just cool with it, I approve of it, that sometimes there are some things, a full trailer is different if you're going to release to everybody, but some people have this mentality that, oh, Kevin Feige made this trailer of Doctor Strange out of still images and music, and he was going to show it to the world, but then decided just to show it to the people at D23. No, it was never something that was going to be showed to the world, so we're not missing out on anything. It was never going to be given to us. But for a special occasion at a special event, he decided to show a finite small amount of people. I have no problem with that. I think that's great, and I hope they continue on with that practice. Anyway, Schnepp, you sometimes you think that way a little bit. You think other ways a little bit. How do you approach that question now?
I think it's split. It's split for me. I think the thing that makes these events so special is the chance to see a preview or advanced footage or stills or artwork like from Doctor Strange. And I don't think it has to be shared with the rest of the world. Since when did the rest of the world, just because you have an internet connection, I'm supposed to see that too. And
I'm entitled.
Right. It's an entitlement thing, which is like, no, all these people took time out of their day to go all the way to some event, or so a lot of people flew in from out of state or from another country to go to this event specifically for this thing, this convention, whatever it is. And that's something special is for those people. And I don't have any problem, even though I'm incredibly jealous and want to kill these guys because they got to see concept art from Doctor Strange that I have to wait. Just
and the new Star Wars trailer. Oh, wait.
Anyway. I know. See, there's disappointment for everybody. But for me, I'm like, yeah, I didn't get to see that. I got them to describe it to me as best they could. And that's why I just have to wait, just like every other person around the entire planet. I'm totally cool with that. But that's why I'm like, well, next time I'm going to go to that convention, or it makes it special. It makes you like, I want to be there and see that and experience that too. And that's what makes these things special. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Now, when people steal footage from like Comic-Con and then slap it online, I also don't have a problem seeing that stuff. I'm not necessarily like, it's horrible that it's getting ripped off. I'm against people stealing films outright and throwing them on YouTube, wholesale slaughter, just stealing from creators and filmmakers and studios. I think that's completely wrong. But if you're like, you have a weird iPhone and you're like shaky cam and you got a few minutes of Deadpool footage and it's like, I'll take those scraps because I wasn't there. I couldn't get into that. There was no way in hell I was ever going to get into that theater. I'm like, even if I was there, I couldn't get into that theater. So everyone else got to see it pristine with amazing, perfect sound. I saw a weird little scrap of it before it gets pulled off the internet. I'm okay with that too. Is that right? No, but I'll take what I can get when it's that kind of scrimpy, scrappy stuff. I don't feel good about like stealing anything. I don't do that. But if it is like one of those preview screenings, I'm cool that somebody had the nuts to do it. If it was my film and I saw someone filming it, I'd grab that iPhone and crack it. I'd give them the chance to erase
shove it
the
down
stuff.
their throats.
I know. I would give them the chance though, before a severe beating, to at least erase the footage. But hey, look. Like I said, I think conventions are really special. It's important to not just remember, like all the people who took the time to go to these conventions, if they're seeing this amazing footage, don't be jealous. Well, actually be jealous of them. You should be, because it's something really special. But, take the time to become part of this event. That's the best way I can describe it.
Don't most of the really, really big stuff get leaked most of the time? Like
not
huge
from
stuff.
D23. It did at Comic-Con because the security just wasn't as tight. But at D23, they were walking around and they really were strict on you can't have any recording devices out. And so nobody, to my knowledge, has seen a leaked Jungle Book trailer or a leaked Civil War trailer. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, at least it's a lot, right? One of the things I this is a little off topic, but this is a great excuse for me to throw out this quote because I love this quote. Hearing this story about people saying, "Why'd they get to see it? We didn't." Blah blah. It reminds me of the genius of Louis C.K. I know you're a big fan of Louis C.K. One of the best, most awesome quotes, there was a skit he did with a little girl playing his daughter. And the little girl was like, he has more in his bowl than I do. That's not fair. I want it too. And Louis C.K., this great quote, I just had to pull it up. He said this to his daughter. You don't look into your neighbor's bowl to see if you have as much as them. You only look into your neighbor's bowl to make sure they have enough. Louis C.K., just had to throw that out there. Anyway, your thoughts on this whole issue?
Well, first of all, I think it's total BS that Warner Brothers showed their executives Batman v Superman the movie and then let the rest of us see it. Come on, man. We're waiting for this too. I think you can put a trailer up online and you can get all the YouTube hits and all the tweets and retweets and likes you want, but there's nothing that will create a bigger buzz than showing it in front of a hall full of people and having them go crazy for it, and just people hearing about, oh, did you hear this footage was shown here, and people went wild for it. You should show it eventually to everybody else a month later, 2 months later, whenever you want to release it to the public, but you earned getting there. It's not just flying there and paying for the badge to go to whatever convention. Sometimes you have to sleep in line overnight just to get in to see the footage, so you have earned more than anybody else. Look, life is competitive, okay? And there's perks to not having to wait in line all night and having to pay for a flight and going to a convention and just sitting back and seeing what the reaction was on Twitter and then anticipating when you get to see it. It'd be great if studios said, oh, here's where you can see the Civil War footage for everybody else, but they don't do that yet, and it makes you want to go to the next D23, doesn't it? So that's how commerce works. I mean, it's like, oh man, I don't want to be left out in the cold again next year, so I gotta pay to see this.
All right, folks, that'll do it for us for this installment of
Sinead laughing
Collider Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing at our friends over at AMC Theatres right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all of your theater, showtime, and of course, your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, just search on your favorite podcast feed and your favorite podcast client for Collider Video, and you will find us there. And listen, if you love your entertainment news, you want to keep up to date on everything going on in the world of entertainment, make sure you bookmark collider.com. Steve Frosty Weintraub and his crack team of writers over there keeping us all up to date on everything going on in the world of entertainment news right up to the minute. Make sure you bookmark that website. I want to thank, first of all, the people sitting at the table with me. Sitting over here, the victorious Mr. Jon Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram, just at Jon Schnepp and at TDOSLWH. You can find my film, The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, by going to www.tdoslwh.com. Get a digital download or Blu-ray. Thanks.
The equally victorious, because he bumped into Kevin Feige last night, Mr. Mark Ellis. Mark, where can people find you online?
Me and Kevin are going to be hitting the road this fall doing stand-up. Watch him open for me. You can get tickets to all my tour dates this fall at markellislive.com, on Twitter and Instagram, 5150Ellis.
And of course, our lovely host today, Miss Sinead DeFries. Sinead, where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Sinead DeFries and at that'ssosinead.com.
And you can find me simply on Facebook or on Twitter, just at John Campea. Follow me there, because I've got some big news coming up pretty soon about some new stuff we're doing here at Collider Video. Keep your eyes open. Got some big news coming. All right, folks, that'll do it for us. Thanks again for Collider Video, and until next time, bye-bye.